What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. This is the Wagering World. Unfortunately, today I gotta be in here one deep again, like my boy Zero the Crooked, or like I'm in a two-seater with the top down. I gotta roll one deep when I'm rolling like that. If I don't have a wife with me, it's no room. It's no room. But I had to get to you guys today because we got the last weekend of college basketball coming up. Monday's the championship game. I owe it to all of my guys in the Wagering World community and ladies in the Wagering World community to get out this information to you guys. I know you trust me to come through with some advice, with some consulting. I got to do my pro bono, and I missed you guys a lot. It's real easy just to go to the book, make my bet, get me some money, come home, get to the next game, spend time with my family, and keep it moving. It takes a lot out the day to just sit down and take the time to record this video, edit it, because I got to put the grooves in there. We got to have a vibe for them. It's not the Wagering World without the vibes. And it takes a little time. So when it's not football season, it's not a priority as much. I try to use that time to really catch up because you guys have everything in me from August all the way to February. My family gets very little of me, and I try to get myself to the betting community, making sure that everyone's out here doing what they need to do, making good sound plays, and not allowing the books to beat us, because it's always us versus the machine. You guys go to www.thewageringworld.com. You can get gear like this oversized quality tee that I have on right now, that it's us versus the machine. Also, you see I had a 4-leaf clover. It's that good look green Wagering World show cap. So you guys go check that out. I appreciate if you all will go sign up now. I appreciate it if you guys will go subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I appreciate if you hit that like button right now. The algorithm needs the likes. I'm seeing 500 to 600 guys watching the show every time it comes on, but I'm only seeing 60 likes. Come on, guys. Don't sit through the show, get the information, and you don't have enough love for old Five Star just to tap that button on your computer and hit a like. It's for free, man. And I'm giving you my time. So please respect my time and please just hit that like button. I appreciate all of the comments. I got to kick off the show before we get to these games with something that's really dear to heart to me and was really heartbreaking news for me. This past week, I lost a really close friend, Kenneth Bailey, known by Young Scooter in the hip-hop world. Young Scooter and I go back many, many years. I want to say maybe we met maybe 2011 or so. We were two of the only young black dudes that were coming to MGM every weekend. He was coming from Atlanta with our boy E, and I was coming in from Houston. And our meetup spot every Sunday was the MGM Sportsbook. Usually they'd be in the front row and I'd be upstairs in VIP because I like to be tucked a little more. They like to be close so they could just run to the counter if they saw something. My boy would pull up with a duffel bag full of money, and first thing he'd do when he got in town, he'd text me and say, Five Star, what do I do? What's the move for the day? I was more of a college football bettor, so Saturdays was my day. But Sundays, me and him had a lot of good times because he was an NFL guy. And he loved betting NFL, and he betted for at least 2-3 years straight. I want to say every Sunday we were together for maybe 3 straight seasons of NFL inside the MGM, man. Really good dude. Met his son's mother. His son was a really good basketball player, up-and-coming basketball player. And Scooter spoke to me several times about moving to Vegas after I moved. I moved in 2017, and he asked me how I liked it and everything. And I told him he should come out here, and I really wish he had, man. Just super sad news. On his birthday, March 28th, man, he lost his life. Now the news is coming out that maybe a girl that he was seeing on the side was jealous of whatever he had going on with his main girlfriend and called the cops or something with a fake 911 call, which made the cops hit the house. It was Scooter's birthday, so that night he was celebrating, so he probably was intoxicated, as a lot of us do on our birthdays. And he just made a bad choice, man. And I think he panicked when the cops hit the door and he ran. No telling what he had in the house. Scooter was one of those real deal guys. What he spoke about, he was living it. Um, Him and Future had grown up together in the streets. They were from Kirkwood, which they call Little Mexico in Atlanta, and he was one of those guys that was beloved in his neighborhood, and he still had ties to his neighborhood. I chose many, many years ago to step away from that life, but I still have many friends who they cannot leave that environment alone because that's all that they know, and they feel like if they're not still close to their friends, then what's good is life, because what's life without friends to some? Others like myself had to step away from the madness, and I chose to be selfish and do me and take care of my family and do the things that was going to make it where I was going to be here for my kids and hopefully my grandkids one day. But with that said, Scooter's heart was one of gold. He'd help anyone he could. He was such a good friend. He and I used to loan each other money if we lose games in the casino, and the next day, here comes the cash app, giving each other our money back. Here comes the wire, or just pull up on me, man. I'm over here at Aria. We were really tight, man, and I feel really bad for him. God bless his soul. May the Lord be pleased with him. Just a freak accident with the way he passed. He pretty much bled out. They say he jumped the fence. When he jumped the fence, unfortunately for him, he hit his thigh, and the fence ripped his thigh in one of the few places in your leg that you can't survive if that artery is hit. And unfortunately, my boy bled out, man. And now every time that I go in the MGM and see that front row, I don't go as much as I used to, but when I do go, I always think about my boy Kenneth Bailey, man. Just a really close friend of mine, what I call one of my betting partners, man. We rock together. We used to go out and kick it, after we would have a great winning day at MGM. His wife, his son's mother, and my wife and I went out to STK and had a great night several times before. And he was just an all-around solid dude when it came to me. No one that I knew had anything ever bad to say about Scooter. He just was a hustler, and his word was his word. And he was a dude that liked getting money, man. And he had some of the best music that you want to hear out of Atlanta. And the great thing about Scooter is he never wrote anything, man. He just got in there and freestyle, because he told me that, man, as long as I'm talking about money, I'm talking about what I really like to do. So he just went in there and rapped about his life, man. And he was a dude that had great aspirations for his son becoming an NBA player. And if I could do anything for his son to help him continue that dream, I will. But I know he has a great support base out there in Atlanta and out there in Little Mexico, the Kirkwood community in Atlanta, the free bands, record label, and all those guys. They love Scooter. He's a legend. He was a living legend before he passed. But my boy leaves this earth at the tender age of 39, doesn't see 40 years old, and it made me really, really sad. A lot of tears, dropped. But at the end of the day, all we can say is thank you, Lord, because he makes no mistakes. And I'll just continue to try to keep his legacy alive by bringing up his name, playing his music, and remembering all the great times that we have, that we shared together, betting sports and doing what we both love to do. And that was taking out these books. It was always us versus the machine. Rest in power, my brother, young Scooter. All right, let's get to these games and jump into the present. Well, you guys know what time of the year it is. It's spring again. It's April. The weather's crazy here in Las Vegas. Some days it's 60 degrees and windy. Some days it's 40 degrees and raining. And some days it's 75 degrees and sunny, man. But now April is here, and you heard of April rains. It's a reason that they say that surely the Creator makes no mistakes as He showers the earth in order we can enjoy these great blessings of the earth that we have with vegetation and the beautiful trees and landscape that we see. So it's spring again, and when it's spring, you know what that means. It means it's time for college basketball, March Madness, NBA playoffs coming up soon. My Rockets have been looking really, really good. They've been on fire since the playoffs. Everyone's saying they want to play them. I don't think so. I don't think you want to play them as much as you want to. The Rockets can get the offensive side figured out. They're going to be a really tough out because defensively, defensive rebounding, playing together as a team, and hustling, you never have to worry about they bringing a hard hat with that one every year. I want to talk about first a tournament that's just getting into Las Vegas. First year trying it. It's going to be a new thing. The crowds aren't looking too good, but the coverage on Fox is the weird. I'm talking about the college basketball crown. The college basketball crown is going to be an event that's here to give major conference teams who were left out, that were in the last four out, and right on the fringes of making the NCAA tournament, an opportunity to showcase their skills and keep playing basketball in the season with their teams. And it's been really entertaining basketball. A lot of overs. The only low-scoring game I can remember is Villanova and USC. Everybody's been shooting the ball really well. Just a good tournament, some solid teams, some solid players, good coaching. So me, as long as it's basketball on, as long as it's football on, as long as it's tennis on, I'm going to give it a shot and check it out because it might be something that I could benefit from. It might be something that's a really good market for us to make some money. And I think so with this college basketball tournament. It's down to the semifinals, and these games are going to be played Saturday in the morning before the NCAA tournament starting in San Antonio later that evening. So it's obvious that Fox and the NCAA are working together on this. I think the tournament's going to grow. Even though it's not a lot of people in the crowd right now, it is new. And also, this is the time of year where a lot of people that are in Vegas are at the pools, they're outside. Basketball fans are going to get more and more antiquated to this tournament. And I think that sooner than later, it's going to become pretty much competitive with the NIT. Great game last night on the NIT as we see Chattanooga. Man, talking about 1% beats 99%. Me and the clients had Chattanooga plus 1.5 at money line first half. UCI comes down, hits a two-pointer right before the half with like 4 seconds left to go up 2 points. I'm like, I'm dead. That outstanding backcourt for Chattanooga, man. Two of the best small school guards I've seen together in a long time. I'll put them with any team in the country, that backcourt. Honor Huff and Trey Bonham. Trey Bonham hits a half-court shot, and I'm talking about he shot it. He did not throw it, and it goes right in for it. So the 1% beats the 99% and goes our way last night as we're able to cash that. Let's break down these two games that are coming up on Saturday morning in the college basketball crown. The morning game is going to be Nebraska versus Boise State. Two solid teams. Nebraska was a good team in the Big Ten this year. Solid shooting, really good three-point shooting team, well coached, NBA coach over there, Fred Hoiberg. And they'll be facing Boise State, solid program. Their coach has been there forever. Coach Rice, he came over from Gonzaga many years ago, and Leon Rice did a really good job establishing that program in the Mountain West. Both these teams can put the ball in the basket. I don't see a total yet for the game, but I do on the side lead Boise State. I think Boise State was one of the best teams that did not make the tournament. They made a solid run in the Mountain West Conference, but they're just a solid team, man. I like the way that they play. I like their point guard, Cardenas. They also had a big man in Tyson DeGeneres. He's a hell of a player, man. Really solid all-around type of guy. You look on the other side of the ball, Nebraska, as I said, they like to put the ball in the basket. They love to shoot the three-pointer. They're a team that most of their points only come from two guys, and that's Bryce Williams and Jawan Gary. Bryce Williams has been on fire, man. He's been putting up some crazy numbers in the tournament so far. He had 28 points and 30 points. He had a 43-point breakout against Ohio State. This kid can really fill it up. So I'll be looking for the over in this game on Bryce Williams. I want to say it's going to probably be about 16.5, 17.5. The numbers have not been released yet, but they will be released by game time. Anything under 20 with Bryce Williams for Nebraska, I would definitely look at. Also, I look for going over as well on Tyson DeGeneres his points. They're usually about 14 and a half or 15 and a half. He's now the first person to have 10,000 points at Boise State, and I think he'll continue trying to add to being the all-time leading scorer there. You know, with all this postseason basketball and stuff that we have now, kids are getting a lot more opportunities to break these records, and I think that he's a really difficult matchup for Nebraska. So give me both of those guys, Bryce Williams to go over on his points and Tyson DeGeneres for Boise State to go over. As far as the side, I do see a total. The total is 154 and a half. That's pretty high, but I do think both these teams can get over that. So I lean towards the 154 and a half, but my official play will be Boise State money line. I think it's minus 140 right now. Boise State is just too solid of a team offensively. I think that they'll be able to zero in on Gary and on Bryce Williams, and they might get theirs, but they're going to shut down everything else around them. Not a lot of offensive talent at the other positions for Nebraska. So give me Boise State, which is a much more balanced and solid team, at a money line minus 140 on that one. Second game of the Crown Tournament, the semifinal game will be Central Florida, who's been playing really good under Coach Johnny Dawkins. Always been a solid program since he's been out there in Orlando, going against Villanova. Villanova has an interim coach, as you know. They fired Kyle Neptune. I was tweeting it all year. I don't want anyone to lose their jobs, but the facts of the matter is Kyle Neptune just underachieved. He didn't do what he was supposed to do with a really solid team. There's no way this Villanova team, as talented as it is, should not have made the playoffs, make the tournament. I think that they underachieved, as I said before, and I don't think that he had the guys in the locker room were responsive to his message. I think that he was just not the guy for the job. The job was just a little bit too big for him. Villanova has some real ballers over there. Eric Dixon, now he's the all-time leading Villanova scorer, just past Kerry Killers. I loved Kerry Killers growing up as a kid. Him and Ray Allen Iverson, really fun time when I was a little boy watching the Big East on Big Mondays on ESPN. If you're old enough, old like me, you probably remember those days. That's when college basketball was college basketball. And Eric Dixon passed Kerry Kittle, so now he's the all-time Villanova leading scorer. A lot of great players to come through that university. They'll be getting now Kevin Willard coming over there from Maryland. I kind of knew that he was going to leave Maryland after he said that little statement. He said at the press conference complaining about the travel accommodations and things. He was not happy with the boosters, and now he goes to Villanova, which is a very small religious school, and we see if they're able to get a bigger NIL package than Maryland had, as Buzz Williams leaves Texas A&M because he feels like their athletic department pumps all their money into the football to go to Maryland, which is more of a basketball school. So we see how that shake out in the future. But as far as in this game, Villanova has some hoopers. Eric Dixon, as I said, Wooga Poplar, really good player, man. He's been putting points up. We rode him early in this year on his points, and he was good money. They also have kids like Brickus. They got Longino, who's been there forever. Kids like Tyler Perkins has a really good chance to be one of those guards at Villanova that we remember. Shoots the three really well, 6'4" and some size. And then Villanova will be facing a UCF team that has been hot here of late, man. They've been scoring a lot of points in this tournament. They win a close call against Oregon State. Then blow out Cincinnati. Well, not blow out. They leave them in the second half. First half, they win by 3, but end up winning by 8 in an upset. They were 6.5-point dogs. Me and the clients did have them at the time, and it was more of a who wants to play thing. I felt like Cincinnati is not enamored with the tournament as UCF. UCF looks real excited to be here, and I wrote that. UCF is also coming off a close loss in the Big 12 tournament to Kansas. They lost in overtime and had to lead most of that game. They've been playing some really good ball. They're led by their senior point guard, Darius Johnson. He had 31 points last game. He's been on fire the last 10 games. He's been averaging about 23 points per game in the last 10 contests. I definitely would be looking for Darius Johnson to go over on his points in this one. Once again, remember, guys, this is a showcase game. These are games where the best guys are going to play, and we've seen that the rims have been very friendly and MGM Garden Arena. Let's see how they stay the same when they move to T-Mobile across the street, a little bit bigger stadium. But the kids have been filling it up in Las Vegas. They've been shooting really well. I like the way the Central Florida is playing. I just think that Villanova is much more talented, and if Villanova wants to win this game, it will win this game. It's that type of situation as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of like a tennis player. The match is on Villanova's racket, and I think that Villanova will get it done. I think that they get past UCF in this one, and they win this game. Also, I lean on the over for Wooga Poplar for Villanova. It's usually about 14.5 points. So my official play on this would be Villanova money line at -120. Wooga Poplar to go over, which will probably be about 15.5 points. It's Friday right now, so they haven't put up all of the player props yet for these games. But I just know what type of number they're usually around with these guys. And with Central Florida, you got to go over with Darius Johnson. It's probably going to be, I'm guessing, 16.5. He's been on fire, as I said. He's been lighting it up. He's their main go-to guy, and he has the ball in his hands on every possession. So we're going to look that way on those two. All right, what you guys probably tuned in for, let's get to the Final Four. This has been a really exciting tournament, one of the stronger tournaments that I can remember, with all the number one seeds getting to San Antonio. We got the best of the best four teams, in my opinion, in the country, with Duke and Houston, Auburn and Florida. Just a really, really great tournament. I wish I was in Houston. I would have took that little quick 3-hour drive up I-10 and went to San Antonio, and definitely went to the Riverwalk and checked out these matchups. And also, I would have been in my all red supporting Houston. As you know, my little brother, shout out DJ, he's a Houston alumni, bleeds Houston, bleeds University, Houston Cougars, man. And when he was going to school, I was right there with him all the time on campus and moving around. And of course, U of H is in Third Ward, and I was a South Side boy. My stomping grounds was Third Ward, South Park, Southwest. So very familiar with that Houston campus, very familiar with everything going over there on Ty Wester, very familiar with everything going on over there at Frenchie. So that was my part of the world. So I'm always going to have a special type of love, and I always root really hard for the University of Houston. Also, my father, rest in peace, was a die-hard University of Houston basketball fan, going all the way back to Elvin Hayes and the Phi Slamma Jamma teams. Rest in peace, my Uncle June, die-hard Clyde Drexler fan at Houston, still had a lot of his memorabilia and stuff. So that's part of my bloodline, is being a Houston fan and being a Houston Cougars fan. So I'm going to always root for those guys. And I think that they're in a real good situation this weekend. That segues right into the game that everyone's going to be talking about. And that's my Houston Cougars against the Duke Blue Devils. I know people watching like, 5-star going to take Houston because he's a homer. Not so much. I do not bet with my emotions. As you know, guys know, I've faded the Saints before, the Texans, the Rockets, but in this situation, I think it's a great spot for the Cougs. This is their seventh time making it to the Final Four. No national championship, so they'll be really hungry. Also, the fact that last season, I know that the players are different, but the name on the jersey is still the same. Houston lost to Duke in the same position, man, and Houston had complete control of the game, and it ended up that bad injury happened to Jamal Shead, and they kind of shut down everything that the Cougs like to do offensively, and Duke was able to upset us. I think that Houston will want some payback. Duke has been on fire in the tournament. They shot 56% from the floor and 47% from the three-point line. They're averaging 92 points per game. That cannot continue. Every top team in this tournament, all the other three teams that are in the Final Four, has had one bad game, one bad shooting game. A couple of them more than one. As you saw, Auburn have some hiccups. Florida barely survived 2 games. And Houston had some really close games, especially with Purdue, where it went right down to the wire. Duke has played no games like that. And the reason why I think that's a bad thing for Duke backers is because it's just everything comes back to the means. You cannot continue to shoot as well as Duke has shot the whole tournament. You got to have a game with just the laws of averages and how basketball works. where you're off. And I think this is going to be the game because the pressure defense that Houston's going to bring. Houston has allowed just 37% shooting from their opponents in their 4 games in the tournament, 24% from the three-point line as they're going to guard the 3. That's one thing that they have to take away from Duke, make Duke dribble, drive. Houston is number 1 Ken Palm defense. And they're going against Duke, who's the number 1 Ken Palm offense. But I always take defense over offense in these situations. You got grown men for Houston, a lot more experience in these type of games and situations. Also, Houston's won 17 straight games, man. It's too much public love for me on Duke. Give me Houston first half +3. Give me Houston +5.5 for the game. And also, give me Houston money line +240. The Cougs have won 17 straight games, man. They have their mind on a mission. They're going to impose their will on this young Duke team, and they're going to learn how it feels to be under real pressure. Give me Cooper Flag to go under 19.5 points. I think the star player is going to get shut down. A lot of good players on defense are going to DM up like Tugler, and I think that he's going to have a difficult time getting his points. Now, he might be able to affect the game in other ways, rebounding, assist, defense. He's a great all-around player. Kind of reminds me of a poor man's Jason Tatum, but at the end of the day, I don't think he goes over 20. He's only went over 20 points in 2 of his last 8 games that he played. Remember, he missed a couple games in the ACC tournament due to a high ankle sprain, but I do think that Cougars will hold him under 19.5 points. So if you can find Cooper Flag under 20 points anyway or under 19.5 points, jump on it right now. I also like Milos Uzan to go over 12.5 points. He's gone over those points 7 of his last 10 games. This is a bounce back spot. They kind of got on Tennessee early and he only scored 6 points. But if you look through the year, anytime Uzan has had a single point performance, the next game he's went off. And I think that the Houston team will really need his leadership and really need his offense in this one. He'll have the green light, and I think he takes advantage of it. So we're on Houston all the way around on this one. I think that it's way too much Duke love, and I think it's way too many people who are counting the Cougs out. We're riding with Vegas on this one, and we're riding with the home team. Go Cougs. And the early matchup is going to be Auburn and Florida. They're from the same conference, but they only played once this year, with Florida surprising Auburn and going into their gym and coming out with a 90-81 victory. Florida just got all over Auburn early in that game. Todd Golden, who's their coach, is a really good young coach. I followed him all the way from when he was coaching in San Francisco. I didn't know that he actually started with Bruce Pearl in 2014 over at Auburn. Bruce Pearl talked him into leaving from Columbia, and he's the one that kind of put him into big-time basketball. I think he was like his assistant GM or something position with helping to get the team organized, and then it ended up where Lady became an assistant coach before getting his opportunity at San Francisco, which he did a really good job at. Florida has not been playing defense. Now, they've been scoring a lot of points. That's why they've been winning, but their games have gone over the total in 11 straight contests. I don't know if that's good with an Auburn team who's coming with a revenge angle right here. And the fact that they lost to them in the regular season in the only game, and it was at home. And you got to realize this Auburn lineup are grown men. Much like Houston, these guys are older kids who transferred over, played a lot of basketball. You got guys like Denver Jones, who's 25 years old. You got guys like Miles Kelly, who's 22 years old. Guys like National Player of the Year Johnny Broome, who's 22 years old. Chad Baker Mazzaro, who's like 23 years old. These guys are really older kids. Let's see if age is enough in this one, because we know that Florida has the more talent. Walter Clayton will be the best player on the court, but everyone's going to have their eyes on him for everything that he's done. Well, let me slow down. He is the best player currently, but Pettiford, the kid that comes off the bench for Auburn, probably has an opportunity to be just as good as a pro. I think that Walter Clayton would be a really good guard in the NBA because he can shoot. If you can shoot and handle the ball, you're going to be okay. And he also has a football mentality where he's not afraid, and he's not afraid of contact. Then you look at the Pettiford kid. He just can fill it up. He reminds me of a young Dame Lillard. I think that he has a big game in this one. He's the juice for that whole Auburn offense, but Auburn's going to have to shoot the three well in this one because, as we know, Florida's offense is a really good offense. Also, Elijah Martin didn't play in the last contest when Florida went to Auburn and won. I think that might have been one of the reasons why Auburn kind of underestimated them because he's a huge part of what they like to do. I've been on Elijah Martin since Florida Atlantic, one of those guys who are just special, plays a lot like Lou Dort, has the same body, same skills with better handle. He's going to be a good NBA player as well. Florida has had some really tough, close wins this tournament. UConn went down to the wire. Texas Tech came down to the last possession. Maryland had to lead several times, man, before the Gators opened it up late. On the other hand, Auburn also has been in some situations where they could have went home. But one thing that has been really good for Auburn is their defense, man. They've held 6 straight opponents to 70 points or fewer. And I like the way that Johnny Broome anchors their defense. I think that Auburn will be really, really locked in early. Give me Auburn first half plus 1.5. I won't play the game just because how good Florida is down the stretch with Walter Clayton. Walter Clayton is one of those guys that can literally take over the game. So let's chop the game in half, get in early, ride the fact that Auburn has a lot of vets. They have a revenge angle, and they start fast. Florida is 0-3 against the spread in the first half in this tournament. I think that continues in this one. I do think Auburn wins the first half money line, but for the game, I can't fade Florida. They've gone 16-1 straight up, 13-4 against the spread in the last 17 games. And like I said, Walter Clayton is the best closer in college basketball. But I will be playing Auburn first half plus 1.5 is my official play. All right, man, you know what it is. It's time to get to the Ball and Parlay, the people segment. Tonight, we got maybe the best 2 teams in United Football League, and that's going to be the Michigan Panthers and the Birmingham Stallions. The Stallions will be at Michigan. The Stallions have not lost back-to-back games since their 2022 debut in the USFL, but Panthers might change that tonight. They bring back 2 really good quarterbacks, a really good offense, really strong defense led by rush ends Breland Speaks and Kenny Walikis. I like Michigan, man. I think that Michigan is the better team this season. Skip Hope is the dawn of spring football. He's won 3 championships, I want to say, in a row, or 4 championships in a row, something like that. They won USFL twice and United Football League once. But they're having problems protecting this year. Alex Magoo does not look like the guy he was when he was there on the first time with Birmingham. He's went to the pros, and maybe he didn't practice a lot now in the offseason, or maybe he's dealing with some other things, but he looked completely off script in that last game when they lost to DC, and I had DC in that one. I think that Michigan gets it done. Let's go with Michigan plus 1.5 and Michigan money line. On Friday night, we got some United football. So that's tonight. You guys check out the United Football League on Fox, and we're going to roll with Michigan plus 1.5 and Michigan money line plus 110. Also, you know, I got to give you some tennis as well. All right, let's go to Bucharest, to Romania. I like Sebastian Baez on clay to get it done against Martin Foutsakas. Foutsakas is just an up and down play. He's not solid enough for Sebastian Baez. Sebastian Baez right now is at minus 200. It's worth the juice, or you can parlay that one as well. I'm going to be rolling tomorrow with Zurmar as well. They don't have a number up yet. He'll be playing Cavalli from Italy. Cavalli is a good player. The upset win against Misalik today. Well, I'm not going to say upset. They were about even, but I thought Misalik would win the match. But Cavalli has struggled up lately. Zurmar is playing really good tennis right now, and I think Zurmar outclasses Cavalli. So in Romania and Bucharest, we're going with 2 matches. We're going with Sebastian Baez, and we're also going with my guy, Amir Zurmar. Used to be a really good player on tour, finally kind of getting his game back in order. I think that he's able to overcome the young Italian Flavio Cavalli. All right, so you guys heard all the plays that I have for the day. All of the free plays that I gave out. We're going with Auburn first half plus 1.5. We're going with Houston first half plus 3. Houston for the game plus 5.5. Houston money line plus 240. Also, I gave out Sebastian Baez to win in Romania. Also gave out Demir Zamur to also win in Romania at Bucharest. And then don't forget tonight, we got some football, man. We got some spring football. We're going with the Michigan Panthers plus 1.5. That's a plethora of plays from your boy, 5-star in Vegas. I don't know when I'll be back. Hopefully the guys are a little bit more free as we get ready for NBA to come up. It's just about the time that spreads are available to do the show, which is usually an evening time. Man, I got too much going on with having to go get the kids and also to continue my consulting for my guys. Once again, the Supreme Clientele is my first and foremost obligation when it comes to sports betting. So I have to take care of my paying clients first. All right, guys, but I'm always going to keep doing this pro bono work for you guys. It's always what? Us versus the machine. All right. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, I dedicate this show to the greatest Houston sports fan that I know, and that's my father, John H. Lindsay. I do this for you, Dad. Also, I want to dedicate this episode to my boy, rest in peace, Kenneth Bailey, a.k.a. Young Scooter. You will not be forgotten. An Atlanta legend. One of my good betting homies. Love you, bro. May God be pleased with your soul. This is the Wagering World.